Welcome to Recap Bay. Today I will recap an action, thriller film entitled Taken. There will be major spoilers ahead. Brian is a retired government agent. He attends his daughter's 17th birthday party at a luxury mansion. Lenore, his ex-wife, greets him. His daughter Kim is very happy about her gift, but she is soon distracted by her rich stepfather's gift of a horse. Three friends, all also retired agents, come over for poker, steaks and beer. One of them invites Brian to make some quick money as a security guard escorting a pop star to her concert nearby. Brian receives a call from Kim, who invites him to lunch the next day. Brian is very excited and plans to let Kim know about the pop star's offer. However, Lenore comes to the lunch also, and it becomes clear he was invited only to sign the parental consent form. Kim needs to take a vacation to Paris with her friend Amanda. Brian says he will consider the matter, but Kim takes it as a no and becomes very upset. Lenore tears into Brian for being too cautious. She wants their daughter to experience life. The next day, Brian shows up at the mansion with the signed consent, a prepaid international cell phone. At the airport, as Brian gets Kim's luggage out of the car, he sees a map of Europe with several cities circled in a pocket of Kim's bag. He confronts Lenore, who confesses to him that the girls will actually be following a rock band on their European tour. He escorts her to the gate with a smile. In Paris, while waiting in line for a cab outside the airport, the two girls meet a friendly, handsome young man named Peter, who takes their picture with Kim's phone. He suggests that they all share a cab to get downtown more cheaply. He invites them to a party that very night, and Amanda enthusiastically agrees, while Kim is reluctant. When the trio splits up, Peter makes a quick phone call. He simply says, "Two girls, about 18 years, and the address of the apartment." Back in the US, a concerned Brian checks the arrival information and learns that Kim's plane has landed. He tries to call her. Finally, Brian is able to reach Kim. She goes to the other side of the loft to hear her father better. Suddenly, she sees two men grab her and carry her away, while Amanda kicks and struggles. Panicked, Kim tells her father what she just saw, orders her to go to the nearest bedroom and hide under the bed. Through a series of questions, he learns that Kim and Amanda shared a cab with a man named Peter. Brian plugs a tape recorder into his phone. Two men enter the bedroom and are surprised not to find the second girl. They are conversing in a foreign language. The two men seem to have left the room, and Kim is relieved when she is suddenly pulled out from under the bed. At Brian's direction, she yells out the description of the attacker and that he has a tattoo. He hears her scream for a few more seconds, then after a moment of silence, he tells the kidnapper that he will not pursue him if he releases his daughter immediately. The kidnapper, who has a heavy accent, replies, "Good luck." Brian sends the recorded conversation to his ex-agency friend. Then he goes to Stuart, his ex-wife's husband, and confronts him about possible business enemies who arranged Kim's kidnapping. Brian searches Kim's room and all her personal possessions for possible clues. Meanwhile, he talks on the speakerphone to his friend at the agency so Lenore can also hear him. He provides a detailed report identifying the language as Albanian. Their leader is named Marco and is a very powerful figure. On the private jet, Brian plays the recording of Kim's abduction over and over again, memorizing every sound. In Paris, he first gains access to the girl's apartment. He visualizes the kidnapping based on the clues left at the scene and finds the memory card from Kim's smashed cell phone lying next to the bed Kim was hiding under. In a do-it-yourself photo kiosk, Brian finds the picture Peter took at the airport and zooms in on a reflection of him. At the airport, Peter uses the same "share a cab" line with a blonde. Brian assaults Peter to find out about the girls from yesterday. However, a large man, Peter's accomplice, tries to stop him. When he fights the man off, Peter runs away. Brian takes off in pursuit. Peter then jumps over the overpass and lands seemingly safe when a truck hits and kills him. Brian then meets with an old acquaintance, Jean, who works for French intelligence, to ask for his help. Jean tells Brian where the Albanian pimps are located, but asks him not to cause any problems. Then Brian deliberately wastes a prostitute's time to have her pimp come over to rough up the seemingly meek Brian and demand money. Brian secretly plants a listening device on the pimp, They talk about problems with the new merchandise at a nearby construction site. Brian excuses the interpreter, but not before picking up the Albanian English dictionary he asked him for. At the construction site, Brian poses as a customer to have a little fun and is led inside. As he walks down the aisle, he peers into each room. He spots his daughter's jacket and enters the room, but the girl is not Kim. She's too high to tell him where she got the jacket. He starts beating up all the bouncers and carries her to a nearby jeep through a few nasty shots. He drives to a quiet, secluded hotel. Brian puts on a drip and injects the girl with an ultra-rapid detox for her system. The girl regains consciousness and tells Brian that she got the jacket from another girl. She can only remember that it was in a house with red doors on Rue Paradis. He finds the house with red doors, boldly and confidently goes inside and pretends to be Jean with his business card. Brian is led past several thugs into a dirty kitchen. 4 Albanians sit around a table with tattoos that Kim has described. He tries to figure out who the leader is. Brian says a friend gave him a note in Albanian. He hands it to the apparent leader and asks him to translate it. The leader replies, "Good luck." He immediately recognizes Marco's voice and says to him, "You don't remember me? I told you I'd find you," and suddenly Brian is fighting and shooting the house full of armed men. When the smoke clears, he has killed all but Marco. Brian searches all the upstairs bedrooms in the building for Kim. He finds several women handcuffed to beds and Amanda's body. She had overdosed. He then tortures Marco with electricity to find Kim's location. Marco tells him that Kim was sold to a man named St. Clair. Jean comes home for supper to discover Brian is visiting like an old friend. He recovers a pistol from the bathroom and tucks it into the back of his waistband. He then confronts Jean for selling protection and anonymity to the Albanians. Jean pulls out his gun and aims it at him. Brian then tosses a handful of bullets onto the table, saying that he got sloppy sitting behind the desk. He pulls his own pistol and shoots his wife in the arm, saying it's a flesh wound but that his next shot will kill her unless Jean provides him with information on St. Clair. Jean then goes into his office and uses his access to the French intelligence database to locate St. Clair. Brian says he is sorry for shooting his wife and then hits Jean unconscious. Again, Brian poses as Jean and gains access to a party hosted by St. Clair. He discovers that St. Clair is hosting a much more sinister party on a lower floor. He assumes the disguise of a waiter and gains access to one of the bidding rooms. The auctioneer announces the last and best woman of the evening, an American, a pure virgin. The girl is Kim. Brian points a gun at the buyer in the room, forcing him to outbid the others to buy her. But when he leaves the room, he is knocked unconscious from behind. When he wakes up, he is hanging from a pipe just below the ceiling. He admits to St. Clair that he is the father of the last girl. St. Clair says, "Too bad. It's business and she's already sold." He then orders his henchmen to quietly execute Brian and leaves the room. Despite being shackled to the overhead pipe, he manages to break the pipe loose and escape while killing the guards. St. Clair saying it was just business, and telling him that Kim will be at a pier. Brian shoots him dead. He runs to the river, but misses the large yacht that Kim and other veiled women have been pushed onto as it sails down the river. Brian drives a stolen car against the one-way street to get into position on a bridge, then jumps on the ship as it passes underneath. On board, a robed Arab sheikh lies on a bed while a group of veiled women are led in. Brian fights his way through the sheikh's guards and enters the bedroom, where the sheikh holds a curved knife to Kim's throat. He shoots him in the head. Back in the US, Kim is reunited with her mother. As a thank you, Lenore even hugs him. The end. Kindly like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.